So this is, you see now the screen, right? This is Theodora's speech once again. So, and you even saw Theodora herself from a TV program, from the 6th century TV program, right? How she presented this in the palace.
Why do you keep showing us the same speech? This is like the 6th or 7th time we've seen the speech. Why is it so important?
Right, because I mean, you said that I didn't supply you closed captions, so I'm kind of responding to this comment. So.
Atец Andrei, can you explain the differences between the blue and the green, like factions or the peoples, and how they like work and how they came to be?
Right, they came to be from Rome. Those are old Roman circus parties, and they came in Constantinople with Roman setup that was exported at time of Emperor Constantine. So, and they represent different dynamics, right, in city circles, in population, and they were associated with racing, with chariot racing on hippodrome, right? So, and it's as was mentioned today, they were like sport fans. So, and that was part of the old Rome games, old Rome urge for entertainment. So that's something that's supposed to be in Constantinople as well, because residents of Constantinople with low income, they were literally freeloaders. Before the plague, Justinian's plague, they were guaranteed to get loaf of bread every day, and then they would have also games. What else to wish for, right? So they were fed, and then they would have from time to time huge entertainment. And this entertainment, those people who would go after this horse or that horse on hippodrome, on racing, they set up clubs, and they had their clubhouses. So, and blue and green, those are name of like soccer teams of nowadays. So there would be like Arsenal, there would be like Chelsea. Okay, so, and what kind of philosophy is connected with Chelsea? What kind of philosophy connected with Arsenal? Probably not much. So, but at the same time, there were wealthy people who would try to control them and use them if necessary. Okay, because they were useful tools. They were useful useful tool of influence if necessary. Okay.
Okay, спасибо.
So take a look at this breakdown, right? And do remember about Justinian's legislation, because this is something that Justinian contributed to the whole world civilization, to the entire world, because there were very few legal reforms by that time conducted on the same scale, right? And as a result, right, of his reform, a law school in Beirut came out of business, because also he didn't really wanted to have commentators comments on his laws. They were not annotated, right? And a fact that he had Tribonius, jurist who supervised his reforms, legal reforms, and the fact that he decided to undertake those reforms legal reforms demonstrate that he had very ambitious tasks, very ambitious program, because he wanted to address all areas, right? He wanted to achieve in all major directions. Like he reconquired territories, right, in Italy and North Africa. Then he wanted that his laws would be up to date. So kind of purging laws that became outdated, harmonizing those laws with reality, right? So then also he wanted to achieve religious homogeneity. It's very important that same as Diocletian wanted that everyone would respect imperial cult, and by that reason persecuted Christians because they refused to pay honors to semi-deity of an emperor. So Justinian wanted to achieve this religious homogeneity. Okay, again, in order to boost up empire, in order to reinforce the empire. Okay. Right, that's something I mentioned to you regarding pimps, right? That they had also moral dimensions in their reforms, right? That girls wouldn't be triggered, I guess that's the word, into prostitution, and parents would not have stimulus to do it, so that the empire would help them not to go down this slippery slope. Okay, we remember very well a story from St. Nicholas' life, when St. Nicholas looked after those three daughters who were about to enter sex trade, right? And so it was common thing, unfortunately. Okay, so okay, now, right? So novellas, there are new laws, and they have in the sixth novella the famous definition of symphony, right? Which now we are talking about Byzantine political philosophy. You have been exposed to Byzantine spiritual philosophy, or Byzantine philosophy would be Holy Fathers. Now it's political philosophy, so we very much are connected with Byzantine legacy. Okay, and it's interesting if we kind of take it for granted because it's so well known, this definition, and maybe uncritically. But if also you think in terms of markers or indicators, this is an indicator of going away from antiquity into medieval period, because in antiquity we deal more with independent city-states. Even if you think about Europe, right? Europe before Napoleon, right? Napoleon wars, they unified Europe. They made Europe what it is. But there are some remnants like Liechtenstein, like Andorra, like Monaco. That's how the whole Europe was filled of this, how we call it, midget type states. Do you follow me? Yes, do. Or like think about New York State, if every county would be independent, like Herkimer County as a country, basically. So, and that's how it was in antiquity. And now Justinian, he reinforcing this imperial principle versus those republican remnants. And one way to look at the Nika revolt as citizens protest, and I'm saying citizens, not subjects yet, because subjects, they are subject of a crown, so a subject of the British crown, right? So, and this is in a sense something to think about, that Justinian reign demonstrated high point in monarchical imperial foundation in Byzantium versus old Roman traditions of senate, of city citizens who had their local rights and so on. Okay. Right. There are more moral. There are more moral stuff from Justinian new laws. Okay. Right. So we are also having the first mentions of Slavs, right, during this time, and who were major enemies of the Romans? Who were major enemies of the Romans? Swear for Evgraph.
So a couple of enemies they gained during this period. Justinian, he through Belisarius, his general, he went to war kind of against the Vandals and the Ostrogoths. The Vandals in North Africa and the Ostrogoths in Italy.
No. It's more simple. Who had been enemies, major enemies for centuries of the Romans?
Father, the Persians.
Yes, who was saying this? Some voice came from Paul. Yes, Paul, that's what I was looking for. Exactly right. So Persians, yes. Right?
Yes.
So again, Belisarius demonstrated. Belisarius was a genius doing campaigns on a shoestring. Okay, because like he captured Vandals' gold and then he self-financed himself going into Italy.
Wasn't that during the reign of Theodosius II, though, Father?
No. It was during Justinian. No. So, right. There is a chat. What's going on? Okay.
All Eli's right. Lagging.
Right. Yeah, I see. So now let's take a look again. This table is in Populi, and basically this is a breakdown of Justinian's reforms. Okay. And whenever you come across the term province, initially the word province defined territory outside of modern day Italy, outside of the proper Roman lands, like North Africa or Spain or Britain. So, okay. Now, let's see. So it's going to be next, the screen share right now. So can you see this map? Can you? Yes?
No.
You
No, we
cannot.
don't see the
Okay.
map.
No.
Fine. So can you see it now, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So when you will be watching the Russian documentary towards the end of this class, the Byzantine lesson, you will hear that that's how Byzantium is represented. But in fact, Byzantium at this point is the highest point of extension, right? For instance, Byzantine territories in Spain, remained there for decades. It wasn't really sort of long time that Byzantium had its foot in Spain. So it's also important when people sort of when people use this map, right, without making this disclaimer. I don't think that's really accurate, right? Because this is really Justinian's extension. And is Amon with us today? Amon is here? No, he's
Oh,
not
you mean
here. Okay,
Amon?
No, he's not
Amon,
here.
yes. Okay, yeah. Right. So because he's going to deal with Justinian, to write on Justinian. So anyway, yes. One of the things that when we study history, when we do history, we should be comfortable with understanding that there is no perfect historical figure. Doesn't exist. So, and in this sense, historians still debate and discuss whether Justinian unnecessarily overstretched the empire. And tomorrow we'll be talking about Emperor Maurice. And Emperor Maurice, he lost his mind just thinking of providing for this empire, just thinking how to make ends meet to keep all what Justinian with Belisarius' genius acquired. That's sort of very basic issue for any military commander. Do I really want to be overstretched? Do I really want to be ahead? Do I really want to capture this? It's one thing to capture, another thing to control, which is more important, right? And so all those questions, they are addressed for Justinian. To what extent Justinian's land acquisitions became a time bomb for empire? I would say probably not really, because somehow having all territories in Africa also made a caution, made some kind of insulation for the inner part of the Byzantine Empire, right? And what is the inner part of the Byzantine Empire properly? What is this? What is the heartland of the Byzantine Empire? Artyom, what is this? What is the heartland geographically of the Byzantine Empire?
Constantinople?
No, it's a city, right? It's a city, but it's that counts. But if you expand your answer a little bit, what area is this right now? What country is this?
Anatolia?
Very good, very good. Yes, Anatolia, or properly speaking, Turkey. Good, good response. Yes. So, and therefore, when you had territories in North Africa, right? When you have territories in Italy, right? When you have Palestine, you kind of still have more lands to take from you, right? And basically, to some extent, one might argue that this basically gave more breathing space and prolonged life of Byzantium. But it would be nice sort of to look pro and contra arguments against Justinian's achievements. But imperial coffers were empty to Justinian. So kind of here is this landmass, right? And there are taxpayers. It's very important. Another thing, there were breeding grounds for recruits. That's also very important. And basically, once the empire ran out of all this territory, just the life of the empire terminated, because in the 15th century they were joking that the empire doesn't mean an emperor, it doesn't need a mayor, because it's all boiled down to Constantinople. So kind of that's an answer why Byzantium ceased to exist. Okay, so I'm sorry. It's a natural. I ran into your. It's totally all right for me to point to watch. I mean, the break time, gents. My apology. Didn't mean to. Right. So shall we get together in 5 minutes or in 10 minutes? Okay. So everyone is back. Dr. Warren Treadgold, who is an author of the twice thicker textbook on the Byzantine history, came up with the following comment or following reflection regarding Justinian's reconquests. So, which is kind of kind over Justinian's acquisitions of land. Okay. So now take a look at this chronology. Okay, so right.
Father, just to give us
yes,
some
yes.
context,
Yes, fine.
is the end of the Akakian schism what resulted in like a deal between well, not really a deal, but something being signed between the Pope and some of the easternmost people, like some of the eastern like patriarchs, bishops, metropolitans, that kind of thing. They signed something that basically said like Rome is, I don't want to say supreme, but like Rome has always been right, and Rome has the fullness of the faith and all that. Is that the end of the Akakian?
Well, I'm not aware about this document, but right. And again, I don't want to start on church history, but so briefly, right? Do you remember, everyone? There was Emperor Zenos Enoticon, right? So
Yeah.
Enoticon I'm going to be I'm not going to take additional questions regarding this. It's going to be very brief. So the empire wanted to regain those who didn't recognize the Council of Chalcedon, 454. So Emperor Xenoticon came up with a theological treaty trying to reconcile Chalcedonian theology and Miaphysite or Monophysite theology. So Rome rejected this. In Constantinople, there were sleepless monks, Achimiti, and those sleepless monks, they remained in communion in Rome, with Rome. And this fact that Rome, right, that Pope Felix was the one who protested against this compromises in faith. And when his legates came to Constantinople, they were forced to commune with Akakios. So the fact that those monks in Constantinople remained loyal to Rome, but not to their local patriarch in Constantinople, demonstrated already very high status of the Bishop of Rome. Okay, so end of the story right now. So let's move on. Let's move on. We when one travels in Istanbul, right? This person can be struck by the resemblance of the so-called parish mosques in Istanbul to Hagia and I'm just going to find you an illustration of what I've been talking. Okay. Uh, mhm. Right. I'm not seeing right now something that I meant. It just came to my mind. I haven't planned to, so I didn't prepare, but I will come across them. So that's fine. Now we will look at the archetype and at archetype of Hagia. It's something that actually served as a point of reference for Hagia, and this is Hagia Irene. So Hagia Irene is a church that was founded by Saint Constantine the Great. This church is part of Sultan's imperial palace, which is known as Topkapi. And interestingly, that whoever resides in Constantinople, or yes, in Constantinople, that's how I want to say it. Whoever resides in Constantinople becomes a hostage of Constantinople history, because the Ottomans, they started to develop Byzantine palace right, imperial right, sort of. They had ceremonies that were kind of that had roots in Byzantine imperial ceremonies, right? But this is a side note. But right now, I would like us to look at Hagia Irene. So first of all, this is something for us to keep in mind when we speak about Constantinople. This is Constantinople, and Istanbul is now much bigger. It has, I believe, like 17 millions. It's one of the largest cities in the world. But historical Constantinople is the one you see right here, right now. And the area we are talking is right here. Okay. So, and now if you look at this picture of Hagia Irene, right? And this building was not converted into a mosque by an Ottomans, but it was used as a store, as an armory. Yeah, that's the word, as an armory. So you kind of you see that Justinian, he had this as a point of reference, right, for Argusafia. Can you see this screen share?
Yes.
Yes. Do. Okay. Good.
Yes,
Good.
yes.
Good. 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 Okay. So. That's one thing, right? That's where I want to start with. Okay. Even this is very, very similar to Argusafia. Okay, this is side view. It's another view. Okay. Right. And this is a cross that is very that conventionally attributed to iconoclasts. But as with everything, there are still some historians who challenge this. But sort of, I think in our textbook and elsewhere that you will read this. This is one of the few survived examples of iconoclast imagery. Right. So it's in Hagia Irini Church. Okay. Now. Okay. That's not the one I want. I want this one. Yeah, that's what I want. Now, okay. You will see. Can you see this downloading?
We
video?
first
Yes?
see an approximate replica
Yes?
of the
No, we don't
church.
see it.
No, we don't.
You're
Lasha.
not seeing.
Just hear the video.
Okay. Okay. What did you say?
We just
We're
hear
not
it, but
seeing
we
it.
don't
only
see it.
hear the
Okay.
audio.
Okay, I hear you. I hear you. Okay. So, Andrei, I believe I shared sound with you.
When it was
so it should be.
consecrated in 537
Yes, very
AD. The original dome had a lower profile, and it collapsed after an earthquake in 558. The new dome, built in the year 562, had a much higher profile to reduce the lateral forces. This enabled the building to withstand many more earthquakes in the later centuries. The flying buttresses on the west side were built at an unknown date. Most likely, Byzantine builders came up with this solution to support the aging building. Important Ottoman changes to the outside of the building are the minarets. The oldest minaret is the brick one at the southeast corner, built by Mehmed the Conqueror. The others were added in the 15th and 16th centuries. The original courtyard of Hagia Sophia was demolished and removed over time. When Sultan Selim II died in 1574, his monumental tomb was placed along the south side of Hagia Sophia. Other Ottoman additions include the primary school, the house of the astronomer, and the fountain.
Okay, so what is important when we think about Hagia Sophia, we often forget that without the Ottoman, and nowadays, I mean, minus this controversy last year when it was turned into mosque once again, so that's something else to talk about, why and so, but without Ottomans' investments, we wouldn't have this building. And the other thing that we will be talking later on, that when Mehmed II he conquered Constantinople, it was a very strong opposition of having a capital, because the previous capital was in the city of Adrianople, Edirne, and they didn't really, they were scared of Constantinople. They were scared of the city of infidels. They were uncomfortable of setting up its headquarters. And once Mehmed II decided that Constantinople would be his capital, he moved masses of population, including Christians, to rebuild it. So because the city was impoverished, very reduced in population, and so on. So that's again something what history does. We cannot really ignore it, because it's something that, I mean, something unlike us, because they are Muslims and they took over this and so on. So that's what I meant to say. Now let's see farther. Let's see farther. Okay. How was sound, Andrei? Was it all right?
It was very good. Спасибо.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot better than before.
Good. So we are learning. Okay. Right. Good. Okay, what we are seeing right now was shot during our field trip to Constantinople, right? And you have a world-class liturgiologist explaining about.
We're standing in the narthex of the Church of Argusafia, the great church, and what is behind me are the doors, which are called the Imperial Doors or Royal Doors. Of course, for Orthodox Christians, we all know what royal doors are. That's how we call the doors from the sanctuary, from the nave into the sanctuary. But for Byzantines, these holy doors, the imperial doors, were the doors from the narthex into the nave of the church. Because only emperor, during the beginning of the divine liturgy, only emperor and patriarch would enter through those doors. The emperor would come. The church would be gathered in this narthex in the beginning of the liturgy, where the antiphons would be sung. The antiphons, three antiphons, which we all know. And when the antiphons would be finished, the emperor would come in and meet the patriarch before those doors. The emperor would leave behind his crown and his sword and would come in. And the patriarch would say the prayer, asking for this liturgy, this entrance, to be the entrance of the holy angels. Because Byzantines, when they entered the church, when they entered the nave, they did not just enter a building, but they entered into the concelebration with the holy angels. And at this point, when the chant, "Come, let us worship and fall down before Christ," will be sung, and the emperor and the patriarch would enter through those doors, and everybody else would use other doors, would enter into the place where earth meets heaven, in the place of the presence of the heavenly temple.
Right. Okay. Well, what I meant meant to show you,
We're standing in the narthex.
Okay. What Dr. Permykov was explaining here.
Place.
Yeah. Can you see this fresco?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. This is something that comes close to what he was saying, demonstrating emperor's humility in front of Christ. And again, there are various explanations who could be this person, whether this is just a symbolical person or whether this is a particular one. And one of the explanations that this is Emperor Leo VI, who contracted 4 marriages against canon law, prohibition of having any marriage beyond the third one, and he was asking for forgiveness for this act. Okay, so now, okay, let's see a little bit more of architecture. Mhm. Okay. What would be right? You see, this is Saint Sabina's Church in Rome, right? Would be, of course, nice to go to Istanbul, Florence, because Florence is a very Byzantine city. To Ravenna in Rome to see traces, to track traces of Byzantine historical legacy. So you see, this church was done in the 6th century, right? And in its structure, this is still basilica. And those of you who have been to Bethlehem, right, remember basilica there that was built during Emperor Constantine, right? So this is those sets of columns, right? And this is form, right? This is something that is very clearly clearly basilical structure. Okay, this is Ravenna, another church there. Okay, now this is Thessaloniki. So and this is another type, rotunda, which is also there is one of the churches of earlier time preserved, structures of earlier time preserved in Thessaloniki, also rotunda. Okay. Right, and this is a reminder that Tunisia and North Africa, they were part of the Roman world for a long time. And this is, you see, a point of developing into more what we would associate with Byzantine architecture right now. So turning into more familiar churches. Okay. And this is something that's not very usual for us, because this is would be like Syria or Egypt more, but the closest point of reference for us would be one particular monastery, right, which is extremely known monastery, and this monastery is very much connected with what we are talking about. What monastery do I have in mind? Can you hear me?
Is it an Orthodox one?
Yes.
Well,
yes,
Father, we
yes,
can
yes.
hear you. Just I've never really seen a monastery like that before. So
Okay, that's good. But I mean, what monastery? I really, you see, you probably start thinking for something more complicated than it is, as I've noticed very often a case with students. They start really try to, you know, to come up with something complicated, and it's on the surface. All of you in this room have heard about this monastery. It's extremely famous.
The Red
Mount
Monastery?
Athos?
You know, you are thinking right, but Mount Athos has been populated in the 9th century, so the story would be like 9th, 10th century. So it's and it's right in Justinian's reign, right in Justinian's time.
Saint Pichai Monastery?
That's exactly what I was talking about. You came up with something I haven't heard about. It's really, you came up with something very, how to say, very exotic, very exotic. No, no. Can you try a little bit more, and I will let you off the hook. So I don't want also to torture you with my questions.
It was in Constantinople?
No. It was not. It was in the empire.
Was it in Jerusalem?
Well, you are getting closer. You are getting
At the
closer.
Holy Sepulchre?
No, it's not a monastery. No,
No.
a holy sepulchre.
So you're asking for the name of the monastery?
Yes, sir. Yes,
I mean,
for
under the
name.
picture it said the Red Monastery, so that's my best guess.
There's one
appreciate
in Garden of
again.
Gethsemane.
No. You see, you come up with very exotic.
Was it in Mount Sinai?
Yes.
There's a monastery in
Yes.
Mount Sinai.
Who did
Yeah, there
say?
is.
Who did say
Me,
Mount Sinai?
Paul, me.
No. Somebody gets a sticker from me. No. Who said?
Paul.
Oh, Paul. Okay. So can you guys get a set of stickers for me from the Walmart? Okay. So, or like virtual stickers or something. Yes, of course. Mount of Sinai, that was founded under Justinian, that has continuous life from Justinian, so on. Yes. Fine. We got it. We did it all together. Very good. So take a look again now at this another view of the same shape, of the same area, right? Remember those walls of Theodosius II. You remember Theodosius II was sitting inside of those walls and was writing his laws. Okay, so you see here is great palace, right? So all churches are here, and Argusafia properly should be seen within the contents of Imperial Palace. That's how it makes sense. You don't really see it as your parish church, as any church in our modern sense, which are independent, right? It's existed as part of the Imperial Palace, and it was part of something bigger, something larger. Okay, so this is Church of Holy Apostles, which is now turned into the Mosque Fetih. That's where Mehmed II is buried, and actually church was demolished, and Church of Holy Apostles was a very important a very important monument, historical monument, and there is at least one of the councils took place there, and that's where I believe emperors were buried, including Emperor Constantine and so on. Right. So, and like column of Mercian demonstrates some connection with Rome. So all those monuments were taken from elsewhere. They really kind of was the same rationale as it was in Rome. Okay, now you see reconstruction of the Theodosian wall, right? You see this wasn't just wall, it was the whole set of reinforcements that's supposed to defend the city, and it worked out. It's really worked. It's held numerous sieges, so until artillery became more advanced and could not just. I mean, after all, they were 5th century walls against 15th century artillery, right? And the Ottomans were the ones who were who had a soft spot for artillery, and they were the first who started to use artillery against infantry, which would be a war crime according to modern standards. Right. Okay, so done with that. Now let's see what else is in store for you today. Since we mentioned Mount of Sinai, we'll take a look at this. I found that actually Wikipedia articles are often pretty good. So people, they sort of snob them, but often they give quite complex presentation of the reality. And now I have a chart here. All right. Okay. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Baalbek is and Palmyra and so on. Yes. 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 Thank you. Thank you. So now St. Katharine's Monastery, right? You now see how it is similar to this red stone monastery, right? This is Mount Sinai Desert. Okay. And this is a continuous monastic community from the 6th century. Bedouins who were assigned by Emperor Justinian to serve the monastery, with the time converted and became Muslims. Therefore, there is a mosque in the monastery as well, so that they can observe. I don't think it's in the use now, but nevertheless, they could observe their 5-day, 5 times a day prayer, observe namaz. And this is a document from Muhammad, right? With Muhammad's hand, because he could not sign this. And here is famous iconography, right? And this iconography is clear development of Fayum portraits from Egypt, which were used to add to burial tombs, sort of like a portrait would be placed above a dead body, a dead person's face. So kind of from the tomb would look portrait that will be that would accurately represent a deceased person. Okay. So, and you see this is before iconoclasm, but very, very orthodox iconography, right? So that's what gave Orthodox also reasons to defend their tradition against iconoclasm, that they already had this tradition. So now Now, okay. Mhm.
Father, you know you're not sharing your screen right now, right?
I know. I'm just somehow I'm not seeing what I'm supposed to share right now, unfortunately. That doesn't show me in a small window where normally it would show all what is open. So okay. All right, let's try again. What are you seeing right now? Do you see?
Yes, we see it.
Okay, no, I see what you mean. You don't see what you're supposed to see. That's the thing. Okay, you don't see what you're supposed to see. Sorry for those delays, gentlemen. Right, can you see this now? Innovative architecture in the age of Justinian?
Yes.
Very good, very good. So remember that previous explanation about adding minarets, right? And you see sort of how is Ravenna similarly to Constantinople, right? And it's all one. So kind of you see here is Ravenna and here is Argusafia. Because to build those domes without having major support remains a miracle. And later on, they lost this knowledge, actually, how to make self-supporting domes, as it is, as you see here. Okay. So now, I think it's enough for architecture, and the whole point that you remember those things, those architecture innovations connected with Justinian. And I would like us to look at Procopius, right? That we would look at Procopius. Okay. Now, it's here. I am actually in popular in today's lesson, and I'm opening a document, Procopius document regarding wars. All right. Can you see this right now on the screen or not?
Yes, we can see it.
Very good, very good. So we know that Procopius, right? This is from Harvard classical series which had hundreds of volumes of classical literature, both in original in parallel edition, both in Greek and English. So like St. Basil's, for instance, would be part of this. And I don't want that also Procopius be remembered as some kind of person who, how to say, who slandered Justinian. I don't think it's really fair just to reduce him to his anecdota, to his secret history. So I would like you to show a little different facet of Procopius. So just take a read at his explanation of the war in Africa, and you see his diction. You see that he writes as a good chronicler here. Okay. So you see, it's informative. It's kind of neutral. Okay. It's always useful to, not useful, I think it's essential to understand from where this person was coming from, right? And in sense of Procopius of Caesarea, right? He was, as you know, we actually will take a look at his, but did you have a chance to read a little bit, to take glimpse of his writings right now? Yes.
Yeah.
Did you follow? Good. Right. So now we'll take a look. At him, at Procopius himself. His. Right. So he was born in Palestine, right? Spent his adult life in Constantinople, accompanied campaigns. So he was like an eyewitness of what was happening there. Okay. So he is valuable for those things. But again, when somebody is an eyewitness, it has advantage and it has disadvantage, right? What would be a disadvantage of eyewitness record, eyewitness account?
Can you repeat the question?
Right. Okay. No, I mean, I just we don't have much time. I will just take it myself. So basically, when somebody sees small picture, right, and person who lives after an eyewitness, he might have a better idea because he would have an hindsight, right? And he would have also more sources of information. And also the police deal with this all the time when like an accident happened and person believes that he saw it this way, another person believes that she saw this way, right? So that's a problem with eyewitness accounts, that yes, they are kind of valuable, but they shouldn't be overrated. They shouldn't be really overrated. So that's something. Okay. And it's very different from that quote that I already showed to you from his secret history. And secret history, therefore, can be treated as just collection of gossips. But again, what was his intention? Because he just collected gossips, that's fine, to show what people were talking about, or he had an idea of slander, of sort of putting a time bomb under Justinian. That's maybe something else to look into this. But it's sort of one is struck between qualities of work. So like quality of wars, he wrote wars and buildings, and those are serious chronicles, serious stuff. And now we are just having gossip. So how to reconcile this? So that's a question. Okay. So, and of course, I would like you to put a fly in your ear, and this is a question for you to think about. You don't need to get back to me unless you really want to, but this is purely for you to think about. What does Justinian mean to you? Okay, what does this mean to you? Why is this important? Why does Justinian sort of pulls various strings? Why does he resonate with us? Why is sort of he? It's hard to come across. I doubt that there is one among you who would say, I don't care about Justinian at all. I really cannot care less about him. I will be surprised. That's fine. I mean, that's your thing. It's not who am I to judge, but it's just usually I come across that people have strong feelings regarding him. So think about why this. So why would you react against him? So I understand that you need to move with your lives, and let us pray.